about the Middle East piece?
I do, and I was
now it's bad.
one of the only Democrats to credit President Trump by name.
I stand corrected.
Do you? You sit. Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're breaking down a Fox News panel discussion about the recent Democrat wins and what it means for Republicans moving forward. You're going to hear some heated debates about Trump's focus, candidate quality, and what conservatives need to do differently. Some hard truths are coming your way. Make sure you watch until the end. Please comment down where you are watching from. It's great to see people from over the world connecting in here. All right, now let's get into the video.
So liberal media pointing the finger repeatedly at President Trump as the reason why Democrats won big last night.
Independents gave Donald Trump a shot, buyer's remorse. The Latin community gave him a shot, you see buyer's remorse. Black men gave Trump a shot, they've come back home, buyer's remorse.
The Virginia economy has been cratered by Trump and Republican policies in less than a year in office.
Donald Trump tearing down the East Wing of the White House. That sent a voter to the polls in New Jersey.
He made it about Trump. It is about Trump. And just like in every other race across these elections, it was 100% about Trump.
And even though the gears of democracy ran just fine last night, some voices are already planting the seed that Republicans might somehow rig the midterms.
Very mindful and sober of the moment we are living in. Donald Trump does not believe in fair and free elections. Period and full stop.
And full stop. What does that mean?
Full stop. It's like a trapdoor to escape from supplying evidence. Like, I just don't think Jesse Waters is very talented. Full stop. Then it's like, oh, okay.
Can't argue with
you
that.
can't argue with that.
I can.
No. I said full stop.
Sorry.
I said full
right.
stop. And you know what? It's another thing that came from England that I hate, aside from Piers Morgan. I'm kidding. He's on tonight. That was just a shameless plug. You know what's amazing? Aren't you, like, shocked that you're not seeing any buildings on fire or any looting after this election? So strange. No windows were broken. And you didn't have to board up anything or board down anything. I think it's great. Look, this isn't a rebuke of Trump. It's a consequence of an absent Republican Party. Lousy candidates. And I get it. It is hard to win in blue areas, but at least try. I mean, I think the first people to leave New York City were Republicans. You know, maybe we're the idiots sticking around here, but at least, you know, try. I think, though, the lesson for Trump is stick to what got you to this dance, which is the economy and immigration, because you're finding immigration is tethered directly to the economy. Where is Doge? I don't know where Doge is. Bring Doge back. Crime, you got to hit it. Keep going with the crime. Sit with the meat and potatoes that makes most of America approve of the stuff you're doing.
Jesse, it does feel like the Republicans desperately need Trump, but so do the Democrats.
Sure. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it, Dana.
Okay.
The Democrats had a great night. I want to sugarcoat it a little bit, though. These were all blue states. Trump didn't campaign there. He didn't spend money there. And the candidates Republicans ran were not very good.
Full stop.
With that said, the economy is still the #1 issue. And Trump has done a very good job digging us out of the Bidenomics hole. Inflation's down to 3%, gas prices are down, and wages are up. But there are still people struggling out there. So he needs to pivot from the commander-in-chief thing to the kitchen table guy. And he needs to do it fast. I understand why he went overseas in the beginning. You got to bring all this money into the country. You got to do these trade deals. It's going to take a little time for those things to develop. But in the meantime, he's got a warp speed power plants going back online. He's got a warp speed housing construction, apartments. You can't even build an apartment in this city because they want less apartments because that way the rent goes up and the real estate guys get rich. You also have to bring these insurance executives to Washington, D.C. and do something about the price of insurance. I don't know what it is, but something has to be done. And then you got to bring the AI guys in and say, if you're going to AI these guys out of a job, what's next? I don't know the answer to that. There has to be an answer to that. But he has to now be the economy guy, and he has to do it with laser focus, or you could see problems in the midterms.
Jessica, how do you see it? Full stop.
Full stop. I see it differently.
Okay, hold on. Let's talk about what Greg just said because he's absolutely right, but there's something deeper here that nobody wants to admit. The media is out here pushing this buyer's remorse narrative like it's gospel, but where's the actual evidence? You know what I see? I see voters in New Jersey and Virginia who are tired of watching their grocery bills double and their neighborhoods deteriorate. That's not buyer's remorse about Trump. That's legitimate frustration with the present situation. But here's where I actually agree with Greg. Where are the Republican candidates? You cannot just abandon blue states and then act shocked when Democrats win. That's not strategy, that's surrender. And honestly, it's insulting to Republicans living in those states who are fighting every single day. Now, Jesse's talking about pivoting to kitchen table issues. And yes, but let me add something crucial here. The reason Trump won wasn't just because of policy promises. It was because he spoke to people who felt invisible. The construction worker worried about AI taking his job. The family struggling with insurance costs that have tripled in 5 years. These aren't abstract policy debates. These are real people with real problems. And you know what frustrates me? Jesse mentions bringing AI executives to Washington, and that's great. But we need to be honest about what's happening. We're watching an economic transformation that could leave millions behind, and neither party has a real answer yet. Trump's tariff strategy might bring jobs back, but what about the timeline? What about the people struggling right now? This is why the midterms matter. You can't just win on vibes and promises, you have to deliver. And if Republicans lose focus on what actually affects people's daily lives, then yeah, those election results are a warning shot. The economy, immigration, crime, Greg nailed it. That's the foundation. Everything else is noise.
What Jesse's saying is what Steve Bannon said in an interview this morning, that this is flashing red lights, and it's all well and good to go abroad, and you know that Donald Trump wants a Nobel Peace Prize, but he was elected to do a domestic job, and that's got to be...
So you don't care about the Middle East piece?
I do, and I was
now it's bad.
one of the only Democrats to credit President Trump by name.
I stand corrected.
Do you? You
sit.
Okay. Jesse says, he fixed the Biden economy. He got 3% inflation when Biden went out, and it's still 3%. Prices have gone up in a lot of categories. People can't afford things like school supplies. They're defaulting on their credit cards. You also say bad candidates. Virginia, no one is going to fight with you about that one. But Jack Ciattarelli ran a great campaign in 2021 and got within a few points of Phil Murphy in that election. And there were a lot of smart Republicans that were saying that they thought that he was going to win, that Mikey Sherrill was a weaker candidate than Spanberger. And there were counties that had flipped for Donald Trump that went immediately back for that terrible candidate, Mikey Sherrill, couldn't string a word together. And when I think things really turned to produce a margin of this size, which the pollsters do have some explaining to do, that it was a 13-point margin and they were talking, 5-6, Jack Ciattarelli in that debate gave Donald Trump an A grade and said essentially what Kamala Harris...
Wait. Jessica just said inflation is still at 3%, so Trump didn't fix anything? That's not how this works. The direction matters. The trajectory matters. When Biden left office, we were coming off 9% inflation. 9. Do you know what that did to families? Yeah, prices are still high, but they're not climbing at the same catastrophic rate. That's the difference between a house fire and the smoke damage afterward. You don't get to set the house on fire and then complain the next guy hasn't rebuilt it fast enough. And here's what really gets me about this argument. Jessica wants Trump to ignore foreign policy and only focus domestic. Really? So Middle East peace doesn't matter? Preventing World War III doesn't matter? You can't have a strong economy if the world is unstable. Those things are connected. Now, the candidate quality issue, okay. She has a point here, and it hurts to admit. Ciattarelli did run a solid campaign in 2021. But you know what happened? He didn't get the support he needed. The Republican establishment abandoned him. Money dried up. Meanwhile, Democrats poured millions into these races because they know if they lose the governor's mansions, they lose everything. But Jessica glossing over something massive. Those counties that flipped back? Look at the margins. Look at how turned out. You had Democrat machines working overtime, outspending Republicans 3-1 in some districts. That's not organic voter movement. That's organizational failure on our side. The polling being off by 7 or 8 points, that should terrify everyone. Not because Democrats won, but because it means we have no idea what's actually happening on the ground. If pollsters are that wrong in blue states, what else are they missing? This isn't about making excuses. It's about Republicans waking up and realizing you can't win if you don't show up. You can't win if you run candidates who fold in debates. And you definitely can't win if you're letting Democrats control the entire narrative while we're arguing about whether Trump should focus on peace deals. The answer is both. Fix the economy and secure peace. That's leadership.
On The View. I wouldn't do anything differently. Then Trump says, I'm going to take away the infrastructure spending for the Gateway Tunnel, which is really important for New Jersey and New York. And he didn't stand up for his people. In a state like New Jersey, that especially matters. That state, and I'm married to that state, is full of oomph and fight. And if you just sit there and take it because you serve dear leader, guess what? You're not going to win your election.
This is the problem right here. This is exactly what loses elections. You know what makes me furious? When Republican candidates act like they're afraid of their own party. If Trump says something that hurts your state, you don't just nod along like a bobblehead. You fight for your people. That's literally your job as a governor candidate. But here's where Jessica is missing the bigger picture. There's a difference between standing up for your state and throwing your party under the bus. You can say, Mr. President, New Jersey needs that infrastructure money, and here's why it helps your agenda, without doing what Kamala did and pretending everything is perfect. That debate moment she's talking about, that's political malpractice. When you're asked a direct question about federal funding and you freeze up, you're telling voters you're not strong enough to lead. Period. And let's be real about something else. New Jersey voters don't just want someone who agrees with everything. They want a fighter. They want someone who will stand in front of the president, their own president, and say, this policy needs adjustment because here's what it means for working families in Bergen County. That's not disloyalty. That's leadership. Democrats understand this better than we do, and it kills me to admit it. They fight internally all the time, but when election day comes, they unite. Meanwhile, we have candidates who are so terrified of being called rhinos that they can't articulate basic positions. You want to know why those Trump counties flipped back? Because voters watched Ciattarelli and thought, this guy won't even fight for infrastructure money. How's he going to fight for Emmy? Trump isn't some untouchable figure. He respects strength. He respects people who push back with facts and strategy. What he doesn't respect, and what voters don't respect, is weakness disguised as loyalty. If you're running for governor of a blue state, you have to show you can navigate both worlds, support the president's overall vision, but advocate hard for your state's needs. That's not complicated. Republicans need to learn. You can be part of the team and be your state's champion. Those things aren't mutually exclusive unless you're too scared to try. So, what do you think of this? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.